In this episode, Pikachu runs away. Hey, this is GatorEX, and yes, that is today's episode. All of it, that's all you can say about it. Nothing else, goodbye. But no, honestly, it was a pretty cool episode. Episode 30 of Pokemon Journeys, the series Pocket Monsters. I can't believe we got to episode 30 so far. But anyway, yeah, it was a pretty interesting episode. Apparently, there are mixed opinions. There's a lot of mixed opinions on when the episode summary was out, when the preview for it was out. But it was a good episode. I personally, honestly, really liked it. There was not a dry eye in the place here. But let's go ahead and discuss it. So yes, this episode picks up as Ash is using Riolu in a battle for the Pokemon World Championships and everything, right? He wins a battle. It's an interesting battle. Interesting looking guy he's facing off against. But it's fine. The beginning half of this episode has, some battles here. They're not like big battles, but, well, this one I guess you could say is important or big to a degree. But this episode, like I said, front-loaded with some battles. And the animation's really nice on it. It's pretty good looking. So anyway, Ash wins this battle. His ranking goes up. I believe he's 901 at this point. But he uses Riolu, and then later it goes on, he's continuing to train Riolu, with Riolu going up against his Galarian Farfetch'd. Pikachu's watching the whole time, and Pikachu's kind of getting a little jealous of Riolu, because Ash is mostly using Riolu only, and to the point where, Riolu wants to keep training, and Ash is kind of letting him, and this is what kind of starts to spark Pikachu running away in this episode. And I say that with air quotes because, we'll get into that. But, yeah, Pikachu's making all funny little pouty faces and everything. A lot of funny images to be used here and there. So he also trains against Go because, Riolu wants to keep training, so Go brings out his Farfetch'd, and basically they spend the whole day training Riolu, and Pikachu ends up falling asleep. So it's like, hey, what, you fell asleep? It's, so you kind of see, like, the passage of time. And, for the most part, you kind of know that this has been going on for a while. We've been seeing with various episodes, with previous episodes as well, because, even, like, say, last episode, right? Last episode wasn't necessarily about Ash and Go, but it checked in on them for a bit, and we saw that Ash was still training Riolu. So, it makes a little sense. Then during dinner, later in the day, Ash's mother actually comes to visit, and they have dinner together. So that's, it's pretty nice to see Ash's mother, Delia Ketchum, I think her name is. Again, the English names, right? But, having her in the episode is, I don't see a whole lot of, I don't take a look personally at, like, cast lists, a lot of episode summaries all the time. Mostly when I see the preview and get a feel for what's going on in the preview, or, see the preview with, like, the subtitles, then that's my, how I know what is going to be coming up in the next episode. But, this one, for the most part, I did know that she was going to be in it. And it makes a little more sense. Like I said, we'll get to that. We'll discuss that. Because, right after dinner, Ash and Riolu go off to train even more to work off the food. And Pikachu's just kind of being a little pouty. And Chloe's there as well, and she kind of notices. And what's great is that, I guess a little continuity with the last episode. How last episode, again, Yamper was dealing with jealousy of Pidove. And so now she's kind of picking up that, maybe Pikachu's feeling the same way. Pikachu isn't as, like, isn't jealous in the same way that Yamper was. Yamper, obviously, was pretty angry with Pidove, it seemed like, but Pikachu is, a little more, his feelings are more directed toward Ash, I'd say. So later on, Pikachu's hanging out with Delia, and he doesn't want to leave. He wants to sleep there in her bedroom, which, by the way, she's staying in the guest bedroom. And there is this, this scene specifically, it was really good because, Pikachu just ends up, staying there, and she's kind of, talking to him, kind of saying, hey, Ash is going to be lonely, this and that. And she says kind of the most important line, I think. She tells Pikachu that he's like a baby. And which, is true, which I've discussed. I've mentioned Pikachu looks like a baby. He is a baby. Yes, baby Pokemon. Sorry. Every small Pokemon is just baby, by the way. So he ends up. She sings this lullaby to him, and it's really nice. It's just such a good moment. It's so sweet, I guess. Like I said, this continuing to the rest of the episode. My eyes were not dry at all. So the next morning, she's on her way home. She leaves, and Pikachu then, goes with Ash's, following Ash is going to train Riolu, and Ash kind of says, hey, yeah, wait your turn, as if he hadn't been waiting his turn. And then this is kind of where he runs off, where Pikachu runs off. And like I said, the whole thing about, oh, this is the episode where Pikachu runs away. There was some discussion here and there. It's like, well, would he run away? Why is he running away? Or how are they going to do this? And, out of context, I guess, when it's said as the episode where Pikachu runs away, especially when it's like, the episode in Pokemon Journeys, right? Like, 20 years after the beginning of the anime, it seems weird. But I guess it makes a little more sense in this way because, we have seen how Ash has kind of been prioritizing Riolu a lot more, and in a way mistreating Pikachu. Like, I don't think Pikachu is too out of character. If anything, I think Ash is a little out of character. And Pikachu definitely was acting a little, bratty, a little baby-like. But, there's this and that. I think the key factor to the whole episode working is having Delia in it and having her visit and kind of having that moment with her and Pikachu where, Pikachu just has a nice moment with her where she shows Pikachu love, and then, again, just this nice moment. And the thing is that Pikachu isn't running away necessarily. Yeah, he's running away from where Ash is, but he's running to somewhere. It's not the sense of like, he's running off and just going, heck knows where, and not even, no real goal in mind. He's on his way to Pallet Town just because he wants to spend more time with Delia because, Ash is busy with Riolu. So, he wants to spend more time with her. And, that makes sense to me, at least. So then the episode starts, and the best part is, as we know, Mr. Mime, one of the best characters in the series, well, one of the best Pokemon in the series, he ends up chasing Pikachu because, again, he's tasked with taking care of everybody. And that's a good kind of, I guess, like the second half of the episode. And, of course, interesting, I was going to say no dialogue. Technically, there's dialogue, but it's, Pokemon speak. You can tell what they're saying. You can tell what they're communicating to each other. But, the rest of the episode is just kind of no subtitles to read, basically. And, it's a nice episode. They're off out in the... while taking a shortcut, they're kind of going to, not necessarily the wilderness, but, off the road, basically, off the main path toward back to Pallet Town and everything. And so it's a nice episode. Reminds me a lot of Homeward Bound and similar movies like that. You guys know the movies, Pets Gotta Get Home, stuff like that. I watched way too many of those as a kid, and so that kind of brought back some memories of this. And it's also kind of interesting, too. I like that, Mr. Mime and Pikachu, I think they work pretty well together, because we kind of see them together in this, and, you don't exactly think about it too much, but Mr. Mime is, in a way, Pikachu's brother. Like, they're like siblings. I guess you'd say Mr. Mime's kind of the older one, or just because, Mr. Mime is the one who cooks, cleans, does literally everything else. And again, I think was a good choice to add him as a character in, like, a more of a reoccurring character in Pokemon Journeys, having him stay with Ash and Go in this, at the Research Institute. And again, it's one thing that works out with this, and again, because, he's kind of technically Delia's Pokemon, and who she just visited in on them and saying, hey, you keep taking care of everyone, and then Pikachu like runs off, and so he's got to take care of him. It's a nice moment together. They hitchhike, they fall in water. There's a lot there, but like your basic kind of road trip story, I guess. The interesting thing is at one point they run into some wild Spearow, and in a scene that's very reminiscent of the infamous Sparrow scene from the very first episode. When I was watching that, as soon as I saw the Spearow, I'm like, oh shoot, I think I know what's going on. And, of course, the Spearow end up attacking Mr. Mime, and so Pikachu kind of runs out to defend him in a similar way to what he did with Ash. Again, in the first episode where he jumps from behind, hops on his shoulder, and uses the shoulder's momentum, Thunder Shock. It's a great moment. And, I think kind of having the flashbacks where it's like, hey, remember this happened in the original series. I think, like, we but then again, I don't know. Because I picked up on that, definitely, and I think a good amount of people probably could have picked up on that. But, I guess having the flashbacks to that scene, helped to kind of show, I guess, more Pikachu's thought process. And, yeah, this kind of where he realizes, maybe what he's doing isn't right. And again, it's not necessarily like, I don't think Pikachu intended to like run away forever. I think maybe he needed like a day away, or maybe a week away, a week with his mom, just chilling out for a bit. Yeah, I guess, just to cool out. Like, it was more of a decision, I guess, made in the heat of the moment, I suppose. But, that makes a little more sense, at least to me. So they end up coming to Pallet Town, and right away Pikachu turns around to head back. And Ash ends up being there, and he's, they ended up, Go is there as well. They ended up waiting for Pikachu there, noticing that he left. And again, I think that's another thing that kind of makes the episode work as well, that, Ash wasn't just there, and that they didn't get there and Pikachu realized, oh shoot, you know what, maybe I should go back. The fact that Ash knew that, or he mentions that after Chloe had told him told him that he wasn't thinking about Pikachu's feelings so much. But the fact that he's there, I think that makes everything work out a little more in the long run. But things resolved. Delia scolds Pikachu, tells him, hey, you had us worry. Which it's funny because, she was the one that he was heading to go see, and she tells him, hey, you shouldn't have done that. But it comes to a nice end where while they're falling asleep, Ash ends up cuddling with Pikachu and singing that same song to him that Delia sang earlier in the episode, which of course is what she sang to Ash when he was a kid. And it's a very, very nice ending, and like I said, very emotional, the whole episode. Well, maybe not the whole episode. I got some feels again also when Pikachu and Mr. Mime were in the wild, because again, that reminded me of stuff like Homeward Bound. But overall, it's a nice episode and an interesting one. Again, I understand, maybe you might have certain feelings about how Pikachu was acting. To a degree, I think it could be explained, or you could maybe, I guess explain. But overall, like a nice, fun episode, and I think just some of the good, strong moments in it, especially the ending. I didn't exactly mention how emotional the ending was, where, Pikachu reunites with Ash. But yes, that is a good emotional beat. The emotional beats are like where Delia is with Pikachu, the Spearow scene with Pikachu, and then when Pikachu comes back and reunites with Ash. It's a good episode, I think, personally. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Do you think it's fine? Did you tear up as well? I'm not afraid to admit it. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. We'll continue the discussion down there. If you enjoyed the content, remember to leave a like and subscribe to show your support. You can enable notifications by clicking that bell icon next to the subscribe button. This will make sure you see each new video as it comes out, and will make you a member of the Chingling Squad. Anyway, this has been GatorEX. Have a nice day.